early, something that we don't often see, but this is a kind of challenge thrown to Sagenda because he's played a Gangplank game already and has, obviously played incredibly well, dominated on it for the most part. Irrelevant also looking to now take this GP. We'll have to see what Vitality.Bee look to respond with because this isn't a champion without its counters. Obviously, Lucian Band away is the notorious go-to. But I think that there's a chance that Sagenda might have something up his sleeve to deal with the Gangplank.
Yeah, Ezreal Karma going to be locked in here. Traditionally, you think of the Ezreal being picked in, it enables that Vitality.Bee style of moving towards the top lane. Ezreal you put on the island, traditionally you put it with a roaming support. The Karma to me speaks to a fact that they can flex it into the mid lane, potentially ensure that bottom lane matchup is good out of the second ban phase. It also speaks to me that they want to be moving towards this top side in the second phase of draft.
Yeah, and they can use Ezreal Karma as a really powerful 2v2 in the bot lane as well and really mitigate anything that Woolite and Vander try to put down. You can already see in their bans that they opted into Senna and Twitch as picks, so they're trying to limit what Misfits Premier can get for the most part out of their bot lane anyway. Safe mid lane pick for Misfits Premier. Taking this on 3 means that they can now ban away their counters on their second rotation if they want to get rid of things that are going to do particularly well into the Gangplank. Also things that are going to do well into the Ahri. We've seen Lissandra rise in that priority. Expect if that doesn't hit the ban table, it could be a considered pick for Diplex. The issue that Vitality.Bee are going to run into just slightly at the minute is they are very magic damage oriented. With Taliyah in the jungle, you do open yourself up for potential AD mid laners.
Could be on the table. What are those AD mid laners, Rude Dude? Remind me.
Well, we've seen Yone already. We could see a Yasuo come through, right?
Ooh.
Zed as well in very rare instances, but I don't think that that's a pick that you take into Ahri pretty much ever.
Like classic, we're talking like season 3 matchups. That's very much like a season 3 matchup.
We could also just see Taliyah flex into the mid lane as well, and I think that that's obviously something that we've seen once already. We literally just saw Say can play it. This Taliyah could just go into the mid lane, and then you open up for a plethora of AD junglers. Viego, by the way, still untouched in the bans, so still a very real possibility. Vitality can just go, hey Skeens, you want this Viego? It's all here for you.
Yeah, Skeens has that Viego to pivot towards. Also has the Lee Sin, some other picks potentially be able to pick up here. Misfits Premier are going to go for their blind tier and then play for their counter on R5. Leona.
Ooh, okay. Interesting. I didn't know that Leona would be the pick. Alistair as well. Okay, we're seeing something different. Versus a Taliyah, this is going to be fairly difficult to navigate, that's for sure. Trying to get that engagement through the Unraveled Earth can be fairly difficult for Vander, but this is a well-known pick for Vander, right? His Alistair, something that has been sort of feared for a long time. No surprise to see it here, and we'll have to see whether or not we get to see some engage-oriented ADC to pair with it. Potential Samira angle if they're, feeling particularly spicy. Nice pairing down on that bot side, but they do need some good AD to come out.
Yeah, it's not going to be quite the carry top laner we were expecting from Shigenda. It's going to be the Gnar, but it is probably the safest blind here. Allows Diplex to go onto that Silas as a champion that he was very proficient on in the EU Masters. I remember particularly in the play-in stage, he was able to really tear teams apart with this pick. It's going to be intriguing to me what Team Misfits Premier go for in terms of an R5 AD carry. Rare to see an R5 AD carry from a team, Rude Dude.
It is, and like I say, that tends to signify that you have something a little bit more interesting up the sleeve. That's why I sort of teased, I guess, the Samira that potentially they may look toward that. But it's just going to be a jinx, and they have set themselves up, albeit for a very good 5v5 team fight composition. This is a very good setup that you kind of can use in any sort against anything. Plug and plays itself with Alistair as a front line. You've got very good backline damage, and Misfits Premier are just going to be waiting for the late game. We're going to be sitting, we're going to be stalling, we're going to be letting Jinx get to Infinity Edge, get to those item spikes, and hoping that Vitality.Bee haven't ran over the game by that point.
So more of the same in terms of the expectations we set going into this game. We spoke about how Misfits Premier need to weather the storm of Vitality.Bee. Do they have the tools to do so? Does Vitality.Bee have the tools out of the early game to kind of stall through with the game? How does the Taliyah pick enable that?
Yeah, when you're picking the Taliyah, what you're looking for is hard CC setup. So things like Twisted Fate, for example, are really good. The Silas doesn't have the best setup. You do have one stun, but it's fairly short in its duration and can be difficult to layer with a Taliyah. Very real possibility that we see a top lane showcase going on. We've got Irrelevant versus Sagenda. This is Gnar versus Gangplank. I think that Gangplank, yes, you've got that orange to try and get away from one bit of CC, but if Gnar is met, he's of course got 2 pieces to throw down in your direction. So I think that this could be a very difficult top lane for Irrelevant to try and play around. Ezreal Karma are very self-sufficient on their own. They can immune ganks quite easily with just the safety that they have. They can also force an Alistair away from the wave quite easily, right? You pick Karma, you picked Karma first, and the Alistair picked into you is a bit of a blessing, really, because you've got a very good lane setup in that case as well.
Yeah, I think that's the case for me. No Renatas on the day, which is strange to me. I'm hoping we're going to
Hmm.
get to be able to see it at some point. But in any case, I believe that we are throwing to video here, so we're going to be seeing in a brief second. Don't go anywhere because this is set to be a very good game.
Game number 4. Two of our LEC affiliate teams going head-to-head against one another. Vitality.Bee versus Misfits Premier for the 4th matchup of the day. A 0-2 team up against a 2-0 team. Vitality.Bee looking to continue their winning ways, with Misfits Premier looking to turn their losing ways around and try to put themselves back to that playoff success that they had in spring.
I love these graphics that we get to go into the game here. Something that I noticed is Karma is really tall. Did you notice that as well? Silas and Karma really quite, edging into the 6 foot figures here. You can't really see it now.
6 foot figures.
We're seeing top down here, so it's a bit difficult to really tell.
We need the Luigi angle. That's what we need.
Yeah, we need the Luigi angle before. It might be a bit late now, but in any case, Vitality.Bee versus Misfits Premier. Misfits Premier, the team that like to play towards these late games, but then fall at the final hurdle due to some advantages accrued by the enemy team, and Vitality.Bee, your brutal skirmishers who managed to tear open the game by its limbs in the early stages. Can Misfits Premier stop that from happening? Nah, we spoke about this champion, didn't quite get to touch on it before the game started. 12.10, he's benefited quite a lot. The mini Gnar harder to pop now. Obviously, he has the percentage HP on his W as well, the scaling. Those also benefits as a champion that's kind of underrated in that regard. You normally look towards the Cog more as a champion that utilizes statistics like this. It's going to be Skeens rotating towards the bot side off of his first clear, and in response, Zanzara solo starting on the walls.
It's an interesting path, and Woolite, too clever, too smart. Dodges away from the Mantra Q, but not quite able to get away from the Mystic Shot. So initial hope going the way of the Vitality.Bee bot lane. This is to be expected. This should be a very difficult lane for Woolite and Vander to try and get anything off. Level 1 Alistair is maybe just the biggest sack of health that I've ever seen. Just look at Vander now. Great job. That's it. And that's the contribution to the laning phase for level 1. There's nothing against Vander. It is simply a product of picking Alistair that you're going to end up getting harassed out early on.
Yeah, it's really on Jack Troll and Jester just to really get as much advantage as they can out of this early laning phase, land these Qs in both regards. Both the champions, Mantra Q manages to hit Woolite there, and you see he's getting rattled and sprayed upon by Jeskler and Jack Troll as the second wave crashes in.
Worth noting as well that this was a longsword start, so there are 2 extra potions in the back pocket of Woolite, despite having a slightly lower
cookies as well.
Base health. Yeah, cookies are there too. So we are fully invested in not dying in the laning phase. It's obviously a good way to go, generally speaking. With the inspiration secondary, you are going to get a lot of value through the early stages.
As we see junglers making their way to their respective lanes, a little bit of an engage there. Heal has to come out from Jeskler. Ignite goes on to Woolite. A lot of aggression. Heal in response. Woolite, one more Q will do it, but it won't be quite able to be found. Yes, it will. Mantra Q. Vander, you have to block that one. He was a bit too angsty about trying to block out some of these Jessica clues, but Qs. But the clue was on the page, on the faces of Woolite as he goes down there for first blood.
Yeah, really nicely done. The Vitality.Bee bot lane, shockingly, the winning 2v2 was able to win a 2v2. And Misfits Premier now really going to struggle down on that bot side, right? They were having a pretty torrid time for the most part. And now losing that kill, you're losing a lot of farm under the turret too. Look at the CS disparity between the two as well. Jeskler with that, 19 to 5, I think it was, before Woolite was able to get back to the lane. Only gets a tier for his troubles, but Jack Troll probably gets the better combat item, to be honest. The Amplifying Tome is going to really be able to hem down any sort of advantages that they were trying to build.
Completely. It's going to be the case that Zara a little bit slower to the pale, going to be looking towards top lane as well as this wave starts to crash in. No, he's just going to channel the base. Talia is here for that 415 Gromp second respawn. Actually, might have looked to be the case that he might have just about managed to stop Lilia's base, but I don't think he had the ward, so like he was maybe throwing a Q, but that would have been entirely blind and quite intuitive from himself.
Yeah, completely. You know, one of those heads up.
Shot in the dark, suspicious.
Yeah,
bit of a sixth sense from Skeens.
That's a scouting cue, if anything, right? You've scouted that Zanzara does this.
Yeah, that's like an analyst, the analyst wet dream, right?
Yeah, so somebody's there behind the scenes at Vitality.Bee going, okay, on your second clear, when you come back to your grub, cue this brush, Zanzara will be there, you'll cancel his back.
Yeah, that's incredible.
If it happens once, then the analyst is just there like, oh, it's a coach gap, and then they sit back in their chair and say, I've done my job.
But there's a lot of speculation for our benefit here. I think.
Oh, a lot of speculation.
A lot. But there's no need to speculate that Zanzara is here. Can he quite manage to get into the bush without being spotted by vision? Don't think it's going to quite be the case. But he is here to protect his laners for the time being.
Did you catch what just happened here with the Vander flash?
Really? Wow.
You flashed, but just wasn't quite in range.
I don't know how I've quite managed to miss that. As double pink comes out, Skin's going to spot out both of these. Got a little bit of control over this area. Obviously, Vander does have that Hex Flash, so not quite as remiss as it would be otherwise.
It's a little bit more telegraphed, but overall, right, you don't have that snap engage. It's not the worst thing in the world.
Yeah.
A little bit of... just a little bit of egg on his face, unfortunately. He's just going to kind of have to deal with the fact now that he's flash queued nothing. And
I think potentially what might have happened is it was such a traumatic series of events that I've just subconsciously blocked out entirely.
Could have been.
That's what I'm putting it. That's what I'm putting it down to. It's not that I'm completely blind.
The reason I love Alistair is whenever you fail a combo, you can feel the frustration on Alistair just based off the action that he does.
Really,
he
like
looks
how
so
they move.
angry always.
Oh, I thought you meant more like how the character like moves, how they move the mouse.
No. Like the failed combo happens, you just see somebody slam the ground in frustration. That's all. Not quite
true. I hadn't quite thought of it like that. That's interesting.
Well, hopefully we don't see too many of those from Vander. Hopefully the combos start to get picking up.
You bigged him up. You said you were talking about how he's known for the champion. It's one of his staple picks.
Hey, dude, he nailed the combo. He just nailed it on thin air. The Q flash came through at the right time. Like all of the buttons were pressed in the right motion. There was just nobody to press it on.
It's like wrong place, right time, kind of.
It's like if the Yasuo just Beyblades nothing, right? Like cool. You Q flash, but...
You're really clutching at straws here, Rude, dude. Vander fails another combo. He's going to be getting chunked out quite a bit. Woolite is here to block that additional Q. But it's a lot of damage. One more Q, not quite able to be found. And Misfits Premier bot lane really getting bullied out early. It's a 24 CS lead already.
Yeah, this is a difficult lane for them in general, right? We knew that Misfits Premier were going to be trying to sacrifice a little bit of their early game priority to facilitate a late game move for Woolite, but they need to get there first of all, and it's a little bit similar to what we saw from the last game, right? KC versus Go, where it works.
And the ultimate from Silas is going to mean that you can't quite run away as effectively. Chayek has to burn that ultimate though, but it is obviously coming out with the response of an ultimate from Diplex, going to get that wave in as well. I wonder if this priority from the bot lane is going to be getting transitioned into this early dragon. Is it worth the tempo investment, Rude Dude?
Yeah, I think so. We talked about Misfits needing this late game Exodia comp to come together. Vitality.Bee obviously at the same token don't want that to happen. Early game Soul seems like a good way to stop it.
Yeah, indeed. Skeens is always going to be here to clear out some of the vision here. Zanzara has been spotted around. Vander comes in with a big aggressive engage here. It's going to mean straight away Jack Troll. He goes a step too far, step too forward. And Vander is there for an engage, a redemption engage almost. Charm from Chayek means that Skeens gets caught on the wall a little bit.
Okay, so overall, really good plays for Misfits Premier down in the bot side. I don't know where Jack Troll's flash went, but it certainly didn't do him any good. Went down there sort of regardless of what had happened, and really nice play down on that bot side using Zanzara there, lilting Lullaby as well. It's a commitment for a support, but it's worthwhile to alleviate some of the pressure that Woolite was feeling down in the bot side and try and claw back what is still a very deficit heavy hold situation.
See both supports now roaming up towards that Rift Herald. It is the 9-minute mark. It's been available for about a minute or so. Going to be clearing out some vision here. Mid lane priority is being gained by Chayek at this moment. Rotating towards it. Normal play that we see a lot of the times here is the support leashing some of that XP in the mid lane, getting that level 6 mark. Chayek doesn't have the ultimate available just yet, does have flash though. It's really difficult for the team of Vitality.Bee to get onto him as well.
Thank you for the wave, says Jack Troll as he throws a Mantra Q at the back line, and Diplex
did get 6 from it. Did get 6 from it though.
Ah, worth it.
Not
there
massively worth on Karma. You don't really care about level 6, but...
Now they're going to fight for this Herald. Now, Ezreal has first move, so if this fight gets delayed for too long, Jester could be that difference maker. Sagenda also first move from top lane.
Hello. They're going to want to be stacking that Mega Gnar off of the Herald. With that looming bar, should be the case that Misfits Premier get out of here. Zanzara has to flash away there almost immediately. Alistar ult is onto Diplex. Counter engage comes out from Vander, but Jeskla is here. You spoke about him being the difference maker. He might be the difference maker in terms of getting that kill. It is Skeens that picks it up. Some nice movement from Jeskla. Thus far, Jack Troll goes down low. One more Q from Zanzara will do it. He doesn't have the flash available from previously. Chayek with a flash Q is not going to quite do it. He's going to be going down too low. It's 2 kills for Skeens. And while Woolite was pressuring away these plates, some plates were thrown in the face and smashed on the faces of Misfits Premier.
Okay, Woolite here to protect Zanzara, but a play overall still beneficial for Vitality.Bee. They get the gold lead from the fight. They're going to get even more of it from the Herald as well that they're able to pick up. They lose a plate in the bot lane. Woolite able to claw his way a little bit back into this bot lane. You can see still down in experience, still down overall. This is that engage that we saw, you know, Chayek not quite finding too much. Nice little charm, does a bit of damage onto Diplex, but then Vander goes in and not quite with the damage from the rest of the team. Remember, Chayek did have that ult and comes over just a little too late. Diplex able to flash out to safety. You argue that maybe if they had a little bit more synchronicity, find that kill. Jack Troll limps away, and then Diplex, the fact that he gets out here is kind of crazy. Flash Q from Triax goes just wide. Skeens then able to close that gap, and Zanzara does limp away to safety. Quite nicely with the support of through. This is completely Ludens now for Skeens. 2-0 on the Lilia, on the Talia, sorry. Very fast clearing. We'll have to see how much this Talia can get done, because so far very accelerated in the game.
Yeah, completely so. I mean, you spoke about the synchronicity they weren't able to find there. They're more synchronized swimming with the fishes, unfortunately. One of the big things there was Gnar building up that impending rage bar of doom towards getting that Mega Gnar. They had to be careful about it. They didn't quite respect that. That is something that we've been seeing as a theme from Misfits Premier, not respecting some of these early game conditions to allow themselves to get later in the game. And this, I mean, even outside of the game, this Alistar pick really speaks to a certain level of hubris for me. Feeling like they could survive here. Woolite's going to be going down quite low, has to flash out. That Ezreal ult comes very close, whizzes past the ear of Woolite there. Chayek has to ult and response it. Diplex also has it. Skeens is coming around the side here. They could set up after this wave. Lilia is going to be here as well with Alistar.
Yeah, Diplex has held the ulti, so if there's a window where he can find the fight onto Chayek after this, then you've got 3 more charges to try and take down an Ahri. It means that Chayek has to be very careful in the solo lane, and he has obviously needed all of that support that's coming through. Zanzara there, Vander there too. If they break up in this turret, then it doesn't matter.
Finds an engage onto Skeens, but it's not going to adorn many fruits thus far. You get the Rift Herald onto the mid lane, gets a couple plates onto the hands of Skeens. Jeskla is pushing away at this turret in the bot lane as well. Point of contention all across the map. Points of contention, rather, as Vitality.Bee start to storm into that mid-game form.
Yeah, and you can see that they're just trying to batter down every single hatch, right? They're trying to take every advantage that is given to them, be it in the bot lane, be it in the mid lane or the top lane. They have advantages in pretty much every lane now, given that, you know, we may see a little bit of a CS deficit for Diplex. He just got that extra gold from the plates. He's got those extra couple of assists as well. Overall, they should be ahead in gold everywhere. Thank you very much, production, for the beautiful timing on that. You can see every single solo lane has a gold advantage.
An engage onto Irrelevant. He's going to have to flash almost immediately. Talia, all weavers, wall weaves. A lack of a direction for Irrelevant to find his way out there. Has to do that long flash over the wall that I fail on every single time. Actually, the other way around is harder. That is the easier way around, I think, in terms of getting over the wall. He's also at the thinner point in the wall, so not as hard as I'm making it out to be.
Just get a little bit of leeway. I don't know. I don't play on that side of the map too much. I don't go for those flashes very often.
What do you mean you don't play? Do you have side select in your rank games? Oh, yeah, okay, cool, fair enough in terms of that. That's an engage from Vander. That's going to be Jack Troll. Has the flash available, gets it just in a second though, but his sleep does come down. Chompers might do it as well. It's going to be Woolite's ult. And although this early domination has come out from the bot lane of Vitality.Bee, it's going to be Jack Troll getting constantly caught now. Second time this kill for Woolite.
And in the right place as well. Remember, when we talked about our late game carries to look at for Misfits Premier, it's Woolite. It's irrelevant. One of them getting a kill is exactly what is needed for Misfits Premier, excuse me. Vitality.Bee are going to be hating the fact that Woolite just got to pick up a kill. But Sagenda constantly pushing away at this top, whittling away at the turret quite nicely. Now going to probably go for the proxy Gnar angle and make sure that this GP is finding it very difficult to get to that late game point that we mentioned. So far, they've done really well, Vitality.Bee, at hammering down on the strong points of this Premier.
He's accrued quite a personal advantage for himself, has Shigenda here. We speak about him being one of the more prominent hyper carries, top laners in this league. It's a 39 CS lead for himself. Off the back of, I mean, I think about initially in this game, not exactly been catered to in the most dominant way. It has been Vitality.Bee's bot lane that have been kind of the stars of this game thus far, getting a lot of pressure towards that bot lane. Obviously, a lot of that being generated by themselves, but also a lot of jungle pressure in that bot side. As you can see by the early dragon that they picked up for themselves as well. But very impressive thus far from Shigenda to get such a personal advantage.
Yeah, and you're quite right. You know, despite other than that flash that had been burned just a little bit earlier by the Skeens Weaver's wall, all of this advantage was generated off the back of Sagenda. He'd pretty much done all of this on his own and hadn't had too much interaction with Skeens otherwise, even able to come down and help Herald.
Eleven doesn't have flash here. He's going to be getting charmed up. Not charmed quite. Rooted by the Karma W. Skeens going to be doing a lot of damage as well. It's a kill for Jack Troll. Would have maybe liked to have seen the kill on the Tilia, but Jack Troll takes it with a Q. Giant goes forward aggressively. Ignite comes down here. Zanzara's here as well. The sleep is available. Flash forward from Zanzara, but Diplex responds with an ultimate of himself. He's going to be flashing out as well there. Does well to avoid the cross map here. Jinx ult goes wide as well. Diplex has a little bit of a panic attack for the last second there.
Zanzara just didn't know. I think in that situation, you see a Silas, you see the stolen away Spirit Rush. You just ult. You accept that you're going to have to burn some cooldowns for this and then take it. They're going to 4v1 dive Sagenda.
Your
How many does
star
he get in
man
response?
is getting encircled here. He ults the wave away. He's doing a good job thus far. The sleep does come out, but he's still got so much HP. It's not going to mean enough, though.
Oh.
A return kill almost comes out. The turret in the top lane does get taken out there by Jeskler, but they do get the turret and Shigenda.
And they're going to get Herald as well, Vitality.Bee. This should go over fairly freely to Skeens. So overall, good commitment down in the bot lane, and that's why Zanzara saved the Lilting Lullaby, able to use it to take down Sagenda down in the bot lane.
Nice bit of results-based analysis from you there, Rude Dude.
Thank you. A little bit of a raid boss situation down there.
He knew all this time. What a great...
Well, no. He didn't know, because if he knew, he would have used it to kill Diplex, and then they would have got a kill in the mid lane, and that would have been way better.
No,
they were
Rude
going to
Dude.
get that kill anyway.
This is the cerebral jungler, Zanzara. He saw into the future. Much like Cassandra, he saw the prophecy. He knew that Shigenda must fall. That was the prophecy that was foretold.
And Diplex made range supreme still.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, Diplex is rather strong, but I mean, in terms of the strongest people on the map, massive CS advantages being built by both AD carry and top lane. Banda's gone rather low here. Ignite does come out here. Zayek is here to stem some of the bleeding out of his support here, and they do manage to walk away. A nice little bit of aggression from Vitality.Bee in tandem here.
Okay, so overall here, you know, Vitality.Bee still looking to make these plays aggressively on the map. Big chunk onto Zanzara.
Massive chunk onto Zanzara.
Yeah. Like somewhere where there's no danger. Probably the best place to be going.
No place like home.
Come down, help out the team in that bot lane. No place like home. Not wrong, not wrong.
A long way home for Zanzara, as I think he might have actually walked. I don't even know if he based there. Didn't quite see it.
I mean, at a certain point with Lilia movement speed, you can just walk away.
It might be quicker to walk, actually, genuinely. Depends how many passives you have primed up.
8-second recall. It is what it is. Still need to see this Herald be used by Skeens, and I'm curious to where this is going to go, because Vitality.Bee have done a lot of heavy lifting outside of the base already, that tier 2 having been felled. Despite the fact that this game isn't too kill hungry, the turrets have been up for the chopping, really, quite heavily. And it looks like this turret on the top side may be the next point of contention for Vitality.Bee. They've got 4 people up on this top side where Misfits Premier are just super slow to this. They just don't have anybody ready to respond, and that turret is absolutely dead.
Yeah, Misfits Premier kind of just getting picked apart now. Vitality.Bee really starting to find form, move into that second gear, firing on all cylinders now. They're going to be able to take this, maybe even get the charge. It should be irrelevant finding it now, but they're going to have position now to move towards this Drake, pick up this Cloud Dragon. Misfits Premier really not having a lot of answers in terms of some of the, the aggression coming out from Vitality.Bee. When do you think comes the point where they can start? Because, a lot of the eggs have been put in the basket of Woolite, and it's getting kind of, it's getting mauled to death by the fox-bound aggression of Vitality.Bee.
Yeah, that's a really good. That's exactly the point. That when this composition gets locked in, it's focusing heavily toward Woolite and his potential to carry the team. Unfortunately, he's not being given enough eggs to hold off that onslaught, and right now 2-1-1 is not the scoreline that you need. These items are the items that you need. I think that Jinx comes online heavily when you've got that Infinity Edge or that 3-item spike, whichever. They tend to be in sync with one another.
Plexus over the wall now. Zanzara doesn't quite have the flash available. He's been getting taken out quite low. Sleep comes out in response, though. Skeens is here, though. Vander in tandem with him. Nara's pushing forwards, has the teleport available. It's important to note during this fight. Zanzara almost gets caught out there, but so much speed means he's fastly able to escape from the oncoming entourage of Vitality.Bee.
And they should just be able to default back to the Dragon now, but it doesn't really appear that either of the teams have been too bothered. Yeah, they just don't really care about this Dragon. And
it's going to be Nar taking it now. He can sort of do that. He's pushed his wave and he's bought himself a bit of time.
Yeah, I really think that, a bit of an oversight.
Ult and Ignite here. The ults and Ignites almost immediately. So great Zhonya's to staple out the Everfrost from Zayek. Jinx ult does come in as well. He dodges that. He's getting circled, but it's going to be a teleport coming out from Shigenda. Look here. Can he be saved? It's saving Private Diplex from Vitality.Bee, and they managed to do it so far. Relevance gone way too far forward. Vander going to get stunned up as well. Vitality.Bee respond to over-aggression from Misfits Premier. Misfits Premier decided it was go time. They're going to be getting turned up now by the Weaver's wall. Schemes goes in aggressively. Zanzara doesn't have that flash. It's going to be a Gnar ultimate into the wall here. 4 kills in quick succession. It's going to be Zayek going away here. Skeens manages to find the E though. It's lovely from him. You questioned him for a second. He comes up with all the answers. It's an ace at the 21st minutes for Vitality.Bee. They show themselves in good heart and hearth.
That wasn't a question. That was like confidence. I was like, is he going to get this? This is a huge play when he gets it and manages to find the seismic shot. Not necessarily against the odds, but completely sort of regardless of CC. You mentioned really great stopwatch, really great Stonyas from Diplex. Unfortunately, Chayek just mistimes the charm. Diplex plays very well with this final charge of Spirit Rush. Irrelevant, trying to predict a barrel, not able to do it, and gets out to safety. TP just too far forward.
Yeah, I mean, this was your point at which Misfits Premier, a team that struggles with knowing when to go. And this was the time that they chose. It's not an optimal timing. This is the last chance saloon for them, I feel, almost, when you talk about. Now it's going to be a bit too difficult for them to get towards this late game prowess that they want to have with this composition with some of these 5v5s. Should be the case now as we come back now. Irrelevant has been taken off the map now. Almost immediately, Skeens is unstoppable. It should open up what I was just about to talk about, this Baron now. This Baron with the split push 1-3-1 threat that you have. It's going to be difficult for Misfits Premier to find any way back into this game.
This agenda just running anchor, making sure nobody gets in. Diplex as well has that stolen away. Alistair ulti, he's not going to die anytime soon. 3k on the Baron.
They're trying to one-shot. They're trying to one-shot Shigenda before he gets out of mini Gnar. Smite goes wide slightly. Diplex is in the back line. He finds Woolite. He still has the Alistar ultimate. He's able to do whatever he wants. Finds the onto Zanzara. Misfits Premier really clutching at straws there. Woolite, you didn't quite manage to notice it just there, but as the Gnar was going out, Diplex was going in, and he finds Woolite and takes him with him.
Yeah, a really, really nice little sequence of plays by Vitality.Bee. They find a pick in the top lane, translate it to a Baron, and Zanzara not able to get into the pit, being sort of routed by both solo laners who are just taking off different angles and then eventually collapse to find another couple of kills. Vitality.Bee, they seem to be continuing on their track of just complete domination.
Yeah, it's going to be irrelevant getting taken down. It's a theme that we've seen pervade the narrative of this game for the last 10 minutes, and the story of Vitality.Bee's continued dominance is still being written. Shigenda was popping into that Mega Gnar as he is, and Diplex is pushing towards his bot lane. It might potentially be the turret. We can't quite see how low it is. Maybe taking it down very low indeed.
And they've still got time on this Baron as well. 1 minute has elapsed since they picked it up, and they've got plenty of time to reset, come back out onto the map, use that spent gold, and have a better time of things trying to take turrets. It's definitely a play that they're going to go for. Diplex even has TP, given that his reset was a little bit slower if they want to get him out on the map ASAP, but it doesn't appear that they need to. They've still got plenty of time to work with. And Misfits Premier, you asked when does their composition come online. Unfortunately, it's still not now. Is that a BM? It is.
It's
BM.
booting. We promise. I promise you, Rude. It's booting up. It's just unfortunately encountering a bit of a blue screen of death right now, in regards to the blue side of Vitality.Bee. You spoke about ASAP. Rocky start, rocky finish. The Mountain Dragon is coming in relatively quickly. Zayek has to ultimate away here. When that Mountain Soul comes in, when those Mountain Dragons come in, it's going to be very difficult, I imagine, for Misfits Premier to navigate some of these later game team fights.
The question, for late game team fights is they're starting to come now, right? If there's one more bad team fight, it's the game over, unfortunately. They need to find these team fights like pretty much now to stop their base going down. But Vitality.Bee, they're quite happy to take fights here because their comp is just stronger. They are simply further ahead. They have the wallet to take these checks. It's a 13,000 gold disparity between the two teams, and if there's any team fight to be had, Vitality.Bee should just win it.
There's just so much for Woolite to do in terms of what he has to dodge out. He doesn't have, in contrast, this Enchanter to speed him up. Shigenda goes in, Shigenda goes out, Zanzara's in the Zhonyas. It's a great E from Skeens there. Vander goes into the wall as well. That's going to be Zanzara going down there. They're going to be just chasing him out. He W's to a minion, but he's going to be not long for this world. Interesting to see. I think they should pivot towards the end of the game here with two people going down. Whether or not Misfits Premier can offer up any resistance is another question. But it should be now with two minion waves pushing into these turrets. This should be Vitality.Bee's game to win and end right here.
Yeah, three solo laners, three carries still here. Can they defend?
Woolite's caught out here. He finds a great kill in response though. Jeskler, with Woolite, is back up against the Weaver's wall there, manages to find a nice little return kill that buys a little bit more time in this game.
So they defend, they hold their lines for just a little bit longer. That Mountain Dragon should just be a consolation now for Vitality.Bee. One inhibitor still left to go in that top lane. That last bastion of real hope for Misfits Premier is in that top side. They probably have to force a fight around that top inhib. When that one goes down, the game becomes, as we saw in a game previously, infinitely harder without any of your inhibs up. Baron spawning in 2 minutes. Vitality.Bee's game plan should just be let bot lane and mid lane do their work, focus top laners 5, and default back to Baron at a worst case scenario.
Yeah, I think there's been a concurrent theme today of teams being a bit too eager to end and then having the doors shut on their face. Seeing quite like a, almost like the Jehovah's Witnesses of Vitality.Bee saying, "Hi guys, can we take the Nexus now please?" And Misfits Premier slamming the door in the face saying, "No, you can have it in a few minutes instead."
Please come back later. We're not interested in this. We're not interested in this right now. We do have the focus up towards top side. This should just be Vitality.Bee fairly simply closing out the game. You can never underestimate the power of a Jinx later on. 3 items hasn't quite come through when that Infinity Edge happens to be the case. There's that 1% chance you find the team fight and that everything gets set up for you to knock down, but Skeens off.
From Skeens, it's a zoning. The only bit of CC there that doesn't quite manage to find anyone. Nah is mounting in the mid lane, going to be getting that bar relatively close to primed. And he has a flank here, also has the flash available almost in about 5 seconds or so. Look towards Shigenda here, what he can do. He's going to be getting them away from this turret. This is the last bastion of hope for Misfits Premier in this game. And they are hugging on for dear life at this top lane turret. Whilst
yeah, also... and they can just push in other waves.
Yeah.
So Shigenda crashes in this bot side, he can start taking Nexus turrets. He doesn't care about that third inhib.
Misfits Premier, too many answers having to be put up by them as the rest of the team are getting zoned away from it by the Weaver's wall. That's one Nexus turret going to be falling here. Vitality.Bee now have all the questions to pose to them. And at the podium of defeat, Zanzara finds a sleep, but it's a cleanse almost immediately. Diplex is off to the side now. Irrelevant flashes away now. Can they find anything here? It's going to be a charm going on to Diplex, but he has so much tankiness. They're knocking on the door now. Both Nexus turrets. It's a bare Nexus. And at
That's
naked
it, though.
vulnerability, here comes Shigenda though, doesn't have the flash quite available, flashes away now, Zanzara's in the Zhonya's, it's a great E again from Skeens, Shigenda's in stasis, Skeens flashes forward, Vanda has an ultimate, Vanda has an answer, but not quite, Woolite is still alive now, has barely any mana for these rockets, he's going to be getting slowed up now, it's a triple kill as we turn towards this graphic, most of the people are getting taken out now. And the Nexus gets taken down, Vitality.Bee are going to be marching towards a 3rd game win in a row. Against
Business as usual.
business as usual for Vitality.Bee.
They're just stomping everybody so far. And Misfits Premiere, they drafted this go for late style composition, and Vitality.Bee said, nah, we'll beat you early. We will not let you get to that late game point. And I don't know that Woolite ever was able to pick up the fabled Infinity Edge in those dying ends of the game.